Hello and welcome back to the Chronicles of the Purple Knight. This is level 5 and we are sitting in a little rest area in the middle of the Cerulean Hills. We've been on quite a journey since last I spoke to you. Got plenty to tell. So I better start at the beginning. Basically, the first quest, which was the last one in the series, the haunted house in the saltmarsh, kind of lulled me into a bit of a false sense of confidence. So I went into the following ones on Reaper 1 with my healing potions, and it didn't work out very well, shall we say. I got absolutely smashed all over the place in the quest that followed. So to cut a long story short, I had to cut it down to Elite, where he did well there. There weren't too many problems. I got through with a mixture of the web and colour spray, crowd control, and the healing potions on Elite. They're not nerfed, so they did okay. But I was left thinking to myself, this is the first one, by the way, where I've been able to take on board the plenty of helpful feedback that you folks have left in the comments. The previous one was recorded a few days ago, so I hadn't had the chance to take that on board. So I've had a complete change around, as the defense focused video might have suggested. We were really getting pasted. So I thought to myself, let's pull out all the stops here, see what we can do. Just soldier on to level 5 on Elite, and then see if we can go back into Reaper 1, having made some changes. So I wasn't happy, as I said, with the defences, or with just using the healing potions. I couldn't get Lesser Death Aura as a scroll, so I couldn't get that into the equation until reaching level 5, which we've now done. Quests we've done, that's a pretty easy one. I'll put it in the description. We've done everything else in the saltmarsh after the haunted house and taken that saga, and we've done the two free-to-play ones in the Cerulean Hills, which is the prisoners, I think, or is it the captives, the prisoners, and where there's smoke, there's fire. And that's led us to where we are here. We're about to start the Gatekeeper's chain, which is a level 3 chain in the Cerulean Hills. The quest givers for that are in the Gatekeeper's Grove, just off the harbour. So what have we done to try and rectify the mini slide we've been on and the many deaths? Well, level 5 came around and I was able to take some level 3 spells and also get the Lesser Death Aura in for level 2. So that's been very helpful. I've been using that ticking, as one of you recommended, with Extend. All these buffs are with Extend now. They do drain mana, like Displacement on Extend is 30 mana, so is the Haste, and more or less so is the Lesser Death Aura, but they're definitely worth using. They make us a lot more survivable. So I've been enjoying those. I plan to get Rage as well, to go at Displacement, Haste and Rage. We'll be a bit like one of these bards with the long-lasting buffs, I hope. And the higher we go, the longer these are going to last, so the more mana efficient they will be. So yes, still sticking to the strategy of defensive buffs and crowd control. Picked up Quicken at level 5 to give my colour spray some oomph when there are things in my face. I just want it to go off, and broadly speaking, it's been doing okay. I did try. One of you's been pestering me to try some more offensive spells, and it does look great. And just to throw, I tried with the fire themed. I went with the fire spell sword, and I added in Scorch and Fireball. And honestly, against the melee damage we can do, which is kind of for free, it was very lackluster because it's got no metas on. Now, if I did have something like Maximize, I would be chewing through my mana pool in no time. So I think for the moment at least, the way we've gone is probably the best recipe for success. Spell points for defensive buffs and crowd control, and heals. I think that's probably the best way to go. Now, I've seen about these spell sword things. I've seen in the wiki this second core rather of the Eldritch Knight tree is supposed to give, well, according to the wiki, Ghost Touch. And I think it probably does, because I've had no issues hitting Reapers, and yet I've removed the Ghost Touch weapon that we were using, the ethereal falchion from the Borderlands. So I think this tab just isn't showing up that it has Ghost Touch on this second core, and if that's the case, that's very nice. So, as we're in here anyway, I might as well discuss the changes we've made here. So you can see I've cut back massively in the investment in this tree, just enough to get the spell sword. I've kept the mage armor spell. I could have put 5 extra hit points, or I could have actually put 15 hit points and not gone with the arcane siphon. But I quite like this because it's an almost permanently on extra 30 bonus to spell power, as well as a fairly hard hitting attack that we can use. So I'm keeping that for now. So we're into the Pale Master Shroud business now, and straight away we can see there's more survivability there, extra constitution, extra intelligence is nice as well in that shroud, the Shroud of the Lich this is, sorry. The 100% fortification is very nice. That's allowed me to change around the gear, because that 100 on its own would be just fine at these levels and many levels higher up. What have we got? 2 intelligence, that's 1 spell DCs, and eventually it'll be more hit and damage as well. At the moment I haven't bothered going into the Harper tree for intelligence to hit and damage, or for the where is it, the trance ability for more damage, because our strength is on a par with our intelligence at the moment. So at the moment I'm leaving it as is and prioritizing survival. So to that end, we're in this Pale Master tree. Nice bit of neg healing amp, because we're healing with this lesser death aura now extended. So we've got negative healing amp, 15 magical resistance. So you can see as well, from rubbish we've gone to what's that, 25% and over 30% there. So our physical and magical resistance have drastically improved, which is great. And there's more to come in this tree as well. I've got plenty of negative healing amp, 12 there and 20 here. Would like to take some more in time. Got the Skeleton Knight obviously, and some boosts to him, so he's on a +6 bonus to strength, dex and con. And we've also gained 1 on those 3 for the 3rd core there. So this next bit's very interesting. +15 profane bonus to PRR will be lovely for us, and the knight gets 9 to hit and damage, as well as some other little bits and pieces. So I think that's going to be the strategy for the foreseeable future. We're going to because I don't have to actively heal him, provided he's next to me. And I have him set to defense, so if I have him set to offensive, he goes wandering off and starts attracting all sorts of stuff that we don't need to be going to. So he's on defensive, and if he sticks near me, he also benefits from this death aura thing. So that's been great so far, that side of it. I haven't had to actually pay attention to healing him. Plus he does take quite a bit of the incoming heat off me, so that's been very nice too. Where were we with the enhancements? I think we were just about done. So there might be another rejig at level 6 coming next, because we get a chance to go at these third cores. And the third one in the Eldritch Knight is quite handy. The double strike and spell power is nice, but the minus 15 arcane spell failure would help, because I noticed that the second core gives proficiency in light armor. But when I try to... and also martial weapons for our falchion without having to use Master's Touch. But when I try to use the light armor, I'm getting 10% arcane spell failure at the moment. I had a light armor from the Feywild, a nice... I can't remember what it's called, but it gave extra universal spell power and crit. So I really would like to be using that, because the crit's going to help our negative as well. Let's have a look at the gear, see where we're at. I've made a concerted effort to press the wrong button again. A concerted effort to have a good rummage round other characters and see if I can come up with a decent bit of gear for him, and I think I've done okay here. Our spell DCs in particular have gone up quite nicely. That's webs are 29 now, and colour sprays are 27. We were in the low 20s for both before, so that's a really nice improvement. So a lot of the stuff has changed. The goggles are still the same, the True Seeing and the Master's Gift, and the Persuasion giving us a 3 bonus on UMD and other charisma skills. That's changed. Crown of Leaves. Most of this stuff is Feywild gear now, and if you look at the bottom there, the Seasons of the Feywild bonus, we've got all sorts of stuff going on there. Bonuses for having 7 Fey pieces equipped. This item is particularly tasty for us, giving a +1 profane bonus on all stats, which is ridiculously good at level 5. Intelligence 3 augment there. Accuracy and deadly, both very important for us. One to avoid misses, the other to do more damage. This is a nice item for our spell casting side, so focusing on the crowd control, the web, and the colour spray. Plus the fact we've got insightful sheltering on there, so it's a super item for defences as well. 5 extra on PRR and MRR. Really nice to have. Plus the fact it's a mythic, which is giving us another 3, so yeah, super tasty. And the augment is nice too. That Sapphire of Good Luck that we found earlier in the run, I've put it to good use and slotted it in there for another 1 bonus on all our saves. Our saves are in a pretty good place now for a level 5, I think. Coming up towards the 20s is a nice place to be. That's kind of a placeholder, because accuracy we don't need. There's a nice item coming in there at level 6, I think it is. So remind me if I forget to put it in. Crippling should be nice. When targets are critically hit, their movement is slowed by half. That should be alright. With the falchion, we crit quite often. It's an 18 to 20. So not terrible, but I think if I could have chosen, I might have had the bottle of smoke from this chain actually. Maybe we'll get lucky and find one. That's a permanently on blur, which would save me from spending points on casting the blur spell. Although the blur spell is still handy for use on the Skeleton Knight. Normally I probably would have found this one less attractive, but at the moment we're using strength for our attack and damage, so that's very nice to have. Double strike is great, and also it's part of the phase set, which is contributing to all these nice bonuses you can see. Belt of the Ram. Now Ram's Might is a 2... Now what it does Ram's Might? It's a 2 bonus to damage, I think, isn't it? So that's nice. Extra attack speed, although we run mostly with haste, which I think gives more than that, doesn't it? But extra attack speed is still nice if the haste wears off. 4 con is great for us. And you'll notice as well, I've boosted all our resistances rather than mess about casting resistance spells. Oh, by the way, I did do as recommended and inscribe, see it's there on the bar, some useful spells to maybe use later. Resistance was one of them, but at the moment we're quite tight on mana, so instead I've slotted some topaz of acid, cold, electric and fire resistance into the gear to give us a bit more elemental defense. And you can see another one there, electric resistance. This ring I'm just wearing for the corrosion spell power, so at the moment we have a choice of imbue between acid and fire. The negative you can see is high as well, because I've added a ruby of nullification to our weapon, because we're using the negative to heal now, but also to damage other things. That lesser death aura damages things that are in close combat with us. Not amazingly, but it's something. And you might notice the weapon has changed as well. This ferrocrystal falchion, obtained by handing in 20 chunks of crystal at the cauldron in the hut from beyond in the harbour. The chunks of crystal you're guaranteed to get each time you complete a heroic Fey quest, so you'll soon have enough there. And the big draw of this thing is the material it's made from, the crystal. I'm pretty certain that doesn't get torn to pieces when you attack oozes and that kind of thing. Maybe rust monsters as well. Maybe somebody could confirm that. If that was the case, that's going to be awesome. It's going to save me swapping and changing around, messing about with that muckbane thing. So I'm more than happy with this. I'm sure it works with ooze, but maybe it'll work on rust monster as well. I guess in time we'll find out. So that's a nice upgrade to our weapon. Super pair of gloves here. Profane spell focus is very good because that stacks with everything else. Spell pen we probably don't need at the present moment. It's something that's going to be applicable more further down the line as we sort of go towards the mass hold spell for our crowd control. Wizardry is nice to have, an insightful wizardry, very nice. Fire resistance topaz. But the wizardry, that's giving us 100 extra spell points, which in times of short spell points, that's really helping. I think you might remember I had a Seeker on the belt in this slot before. Now we've got Seeker on the boots. Seeker 4 to help us with critical hits and damage. A nice Sapphire of Resistance slotted there to boost our saves. And the Fire Shield Hot is going to reduce incoming cold damage against us, but it only activates on hit. There's a chance to activate on hit. Just as a side note, if you don't like the overlay, the full character overlay that gives, or any other for that matter, like a stone skin or something like that, you can check the box in the gameplay options here, disable full character overlay effects, Actually, I won't check it because I'd like to know when that thing goes off. But if you have, there's something, is it the Crown of Winter, or yeah, I think it might be the Crown of Winter from Feywild that has a permanent fire shield cold on it, and people often want to just disable that because they don't like the character going round in a sort of a bluey blur. So that's how you do that. Just check that box. Again, wrong button. Ring, that's just there for the fire spell power. As far as I understand it, the crit chance does nothing for an imbue. It's just the spell power that you want. I don't think imbues can crit, just like the arcane archer ones can't. That's another part of the Fey set. We don't really need that. Insightful double strike is okay. Insightful seeker is okay. The other stuff we're not really making any use of, although extra charisma will help with UMD stuff. Sapphire of Defense is very nice for PRR and MRR. And the robe is still the same. It's having to be a robe because at the moment I can't wear armor without risking arcane spell failure. And the very low durability on this item does cause some problems, so I have to keep an eye on that. So that's the gear. I think I've done a half decent job of boosting up our chances. And we've gone back to Reaper 1 from Elite. The 2 quests I did as sort of trial ones, the 2 free-to-play ones in the Cerulean Hills, as I mentioned, we did okay there. We came through pretty well unscathed, so I was quite happy. The only issue we have, well, as usual, the healing in combat. That's like a slow ticking heal, so if we take a big chunk of damage, we can't heal that up. Much like with the Blightcaster last time around, we can't heal that up quickly. Now in the pipeline, there is a negative energy burst. Note to self to take that on level up, because that's another rare scroll that I could fall foul of if I don't take it. That's one thing I don't think I've mentioned that in the videos, have I? Several of you have made the point that I need to be looking at the rare options and making sure I take those on level up. The things like lesser death aura, negative energy burst. I'd made a note of some of them to add. Master's Touch is another one, because you can't teleport to the portable hole in the early levels, and that's when you would most likely use Master's Touch. DDO, Wall of Fire, Delayed Blast Fireball, Disco Ball, Arcane Tempest, but now I'm going into the realms of stuff that would be taken later on. So for us at the moment, just looking into the next few levels, Death Aura, Negative Energy Burst and DDO, possibly Wall of Fire as well, to just have that ticking damage on opponents while we're in the middle of it, dealing our own damage. So that's definitely something I've become more aware of this life, these rare scrolls and the need to select on level up the ones that you can't get in scroll form. Okay, that's the gear covered. We've done the enhancements, the spells you've already seen. Let's have a look. I had quite a few points to make. I've noted most of them down. The mimics, I noted, can be frozen by the Ruby of the Snow Peaks when that goes off. I don't think we'll miss that too much, to be honest. We have crowd control anyway on our build, and it doesn't go off that often. To have the negative spell power somewhere is way more important in my opinion now, so that's what I've added to this weapon. The biggest problem, yeah, I made a note here, the biggest problem I had when the dying started, why the dying started, was when you get to level 3 quests and above, you start seeing these red crowns on Reaper mode. Red crown opponents. And if they get near you, they can go straight through your fortification and absolutely butcher you. They were killing me in 2 shots. At one stage I got Ol, one of the bear party in. She was using a level 4 bard, so some nice support there. And even with the 2 of us, we were getting pretty well hammered on Reaper 1. So I was aware a change of direction was needed. And I'm hoping this is going to go some way towards boosting our survival chances. We've just got more defense all across the board, a big defensive buff there in displacement, and the lesser death aura. So I'd like to think I've taken some of my own advice that I was spouting off about in the defense video. Rare scrolls we've mentioned. Arcane spell failure we mentioned. Yeah, about the spells, I did check, and I don't think you can change the wizard spells at a trainer. The classes that don't get the option to inscribe spells, the likes of sorcerer and warlock, can, as far as I know, change 1 spell every 3 days at a trainer, or more if you're using the Blood of Dragons item that you can get as a reward from the Argonessan patron, I think, in the marketplace. So yeah, that made it more problematic that I hadn't taken some of the rare spells on level up. So it's a learning curve. I've mentioned that. I think we've just about covered everything there. Just a word about the trees, the enhancement trees. It's just a bit of a dilemma with this at the moment. To know where to put things. These 2 at the moment is kind of attack against defense. This Eldritch Knight is our attack tree, more or less, and the Pale Master could be construed as our defensive tree. Healing amp and PRR, MRR, and investment into the Skeleton Knight, who is a huge source of defense for us. And then we've got more attack possibilities on this side in the Harper. Intelligence to hit and damage, the know the angles trance ability, which at the moment would give us an extra 5 damage, half of our intelligence bonus, and obviously intelligence to damage as well. Now intelligence to hit and damage, as I mentioned, we don't need at the moment because strength is doing the same, but we are missing that 5 points potential extra damage on our shots. Although that would be another drain on mana, because I would have to keep recasting that every 2 minutes. Okay, I think I've bored you way too much already with the waffle. So we're going to go ahead and try. This is one of my favourite quests in the game, or the ending is when you just... well, for those of you who haven't seen it, I won't spoil it. So we're going to try on Reaper 1. Summon the skeleton immediately. Get the buffs done. Just give him blur. He's on defensive, you'll note. I had tried with offensive, but he just wanders off too much into things we don't need to be going towards. So I'm still using potions for rage.
Foxpaw came here to find some sort of sacred bounty. It's time for you to figure out just what that
Death ward, sorry, displacement, haste. See, we got the Reaper there. Nice, nice, nice. Nice effective crowd control there. Reaper strike for more double strike. Oh, Reaper. Now that's the difference the Quicken is making. Obviously it's costing us more to cast the colour spray, but we want it to, you know, there's something in our face there that could cause a lot of problems. We want it to go off immediately.
The air grows
And
more
it did.
humid as you approach the next chamber.
Oh, a bit of lag there. And we got the Plague Reaper as well. Beautiful. Yeah. Happy days. Renew our buffs. Let's get some web down for these guys. Nice shot. Oh. Death aura. Oh, I've left the red crown there. Nice. I tend to like to just sprint through here.
Cool, damp air flows up from the caverns deep below.
Oh, hello, mister. Hit me in the water. Not cool. Now where is he? Get these webbed. Oh, missed target. The web did work though. Now where's the skeleton gone? Let's call him back to us. So just a note on the standard colour spray spell, it will stun the targets, but as soon as you give damage, that stun will stop. But the blindness against Reapers is still very useful, and as is the silence effect on any caster, including the Famine Reaper. I'm going to go straight into the boss fight because we've got our key buffs running here. I've got a, you can see me dodging all the time. I've used the Hood of Unrest from the Night Revels event to make that possible. Now him, we could do with him not hammering us because he would hit hard. Now he's a stone guard, so he's quite resistant to our acid imbue. I probably should have changed to the fire there. He caused us more damage than the boss did, although we were cheating against the boss. This is my favourite section in the game. You come to the end of the quest and you just get this glade. It's super nice in my opinion.
A single massive apple rests on the ground beside you. It seems to glow with a faint inner light.
I should be on full alert for the mimics, but I wasn't there. There's some nice little level 3 items in the Gatekeeper's chain. Right, well I'm really happy with how that went. We obviously the spell point, I have to keep an eye on those, but survivability wise we seem to be doing a lot better. Thank you to you all for the help and advice on that score, because much of the reasons why we are surviving is down to the feedback I've had from you folks. I plan to continue on now through the rest of the Gatekeeper's chain, and yeah, it looks like it's going in the right direction. More emphasis on defense, and we with the skeleton knight as part of that defence, we seem to be back on track with it, which is great. I think that'll be enough waffle for today. So thanks very much as always for looking, and I will speak to you soon. Take care.